entertained and edified. And what the order of business is to first of all eat and drink. And so what we're going to ask you to do is, the table servings are out there. It's buffet style. So get your food, come back in, and then we will have about dessert time or coffee time, whatever that is. The real program will begin, and we're going to have Father Harry Ryle. We'll talk to a little bit about the organization, whatever Harry wants to talk to us about. And then we'll have Archbishop Tobin talk, and he will give the keynote. We've got him slated for about 10 minutes. Father Canelli says that these Archbishop talks run a little bit long. So just take it easy on that.
You know that I come from a large family, not just girth and altitude, but there are 13 of us. I have 8 sisters, and when I took this new mission, people said, "You're going to have trouble working with women." I said, "Well, I've been taking orders from women all my life." One of these women is currently keeping company with a good old boy who's also a Southern Baptist. So I've been doing a little bit of study, not that I presume to give my sister any advice, but I want to be able to protect this guy. I recently found a pastoral example of problems that sometimes Southern Baptists face with Catholics. The story of a fellow named Bubba who was living in the middle of an Irish ghetto. And Bubba, during Lent, tended to grill venison on his barbecue and disturb all the Irish who were trying to eat their fish. So the Irish were complaining to their pastor, and the pastor went to see Bubba, and he said, "Bubba, look, you're causing a lot of trouble in this neighborhood, and it would be much easier for all of us if you became a Catholic." And Bubba said, "Well, is it very complicated?" And he said, "No, it's not complicated at all. I'll tell you a few things, and then we'll have a little ceremony of your Catholic." He said, "All right, I'd like you to do peace with my neighbors." "All right." So he told him the essentials of the faith, nice and creed, and the rest of it. And then they had a little ceremony where Father O'Leary took a bottle of holy water, sprinkled them 3 times, and said, "You were born a Southern Baptist, you were raised a Southern Baptist, now you're a Catholic." The next Friday of Lent, there was more venison being roasted. So the Mix complained to their pastor again and said, "Bubba's backsliding." So the pastor went in to have a look and see what Bubba was up to, and Bubba was standing over the grill with a little bottle of holy water saying, "You were raised venison, you were born venison, now you're a catfish." Said to be told somewhere in the world today there's a woman completely happy and she doesn't know. But don't take my word for it. There are people who recognize, they sense something special about our community. I was humbled by a remark that I heard in my first days, exactly 24 years ago this week, in a sabbatical program that was called Guest House. You might know Guest House, center in Lake Orion, to help priests and religious who are struggling with addictions. I was struggling and I had lost. And as my eyes cleared up, I noticed that one of the counselors, the only woman counselor, my sponsor at AA used to call her the ugliest woman in the world, but a tremendously wise woman, was wearing something that looked like our habit medal around her neck. And And I kind of, on my way to get a second cup of coffee, glanced at it, and it was a Redemptorist habit medal. I said, pardon me, where did you get that? And she said, well, a Redemptorist friend of mine gave it to me. I said, what are we, like S&H green stamps? If you bring all of us, that will happen? And she shook her finger right in my face and said, listen, wise guy, you better be grateful you're a Redemptorist, because the Redemptorists take care of you. You can be a Jesuit and forget about you. One of the biggest penances of my life now is to live outside community for the first time since I showed up at Edgerton, that fat little kid looking for a diving board in September of 1966. Because I think together in these days we, besides swapping stories and boring our spouses with tales they've probably heard too many times, we are together sensing the presence of God in our shared history. I'm thankful to be part of this community that shares the story of the St. Louis, Oakland, New Orleans units, and now embraces the province of Denver. I'm hopeful that together we can bring the gospel to those who have little chance of hearing it on their own. And because all wisdom is plagiarism, I close with the wisdom of two of my teachers, one of whom you know, the second one I don't believe you've ever met. The first was Father Emmett Collins. And some years ago in a common room, Father Emmett and I were talking. Emmett looked at me with great seriousness and he said, you know, Joe, I really feel for some of the young guys who have been hurt and disappointed in the congregation. And he paused and he said, but you know, Joe, everything I ever worked for is gone. But the mission continues. The other teacher was a fellow by the name of Peter Mulgrew. Peter was an Irish Redemptorist who spent most of his life in Southeast Asia. And I was with him in an assembly in the southern part of the Philippines as the vice province at that time was about to become a province. And the Filipino conference were rightfully suspicious of the Irish, because they didn't think the Irish were really talking clearly. Can you imagine? They weren't sure that after the province was assembled, all the Irish weren't going to go back to Ireland or someplace else. So I suggested that we'd have an assembly and we could, each one of us, say how long we were going to be in the Philippines. And so one after another, the Irish said, I'll be here for 2 more years. Another one to say, I'll be here for 3 years. And then the last to speak was Peter, who was 84 years old at the time. And Peter said, put me down for 10 years and make it renewable. Put me down for a lifetime. Make it renewable.
For institutes of consecrated life and societies of apostolic life, the titular Archbishop of Oba of the Vatican State as an international honorary citizen of the state of Louisiana. Whereas the Most Reverend Joseph William Tobin was born in Detroit, Michigan on May 3rd, 1952, and whereas after training for the Congregation of the Most Holy Redeemer, he was ordained a priest on June 1, 1978, and whereas Archbishop Tobin, after serving as pastor in parishes in Detroit and Chicago, was elected to 2 terms as Superior General of the Redemptorists and served as Vice President of the Union of Superiors General in Rome. And whereas on August 2nd, 2010, Pope Benedict appointed Father Joseph Tobin as Secretary of the Congregation for Institutes of Consecrated Life and titular Archbishop of Oba. And whereas this office oversees matters regarding over 1 million Catholics in religious and consecrated life as well as societies of apostolic life. And whereas the Redemptorist fathers and brothers first established a permanent presence in the state of Louisiana in 1847 to minister to those most in need. And whereas in our state stands a national shrine to the Redemptorist, Blessed Francis Xavier Silos, who died caring for the sick during the yellow fever epidemic in the city of New Orleans. And whereas the state of Louisiana is renowned for its food, festivals, famous citizens, and foreign visitors, and it is with tremendous pride that tribute is paid to special guests, events, and activities. Therefore, be it resolved that a sincere welcome is hereby extended to the Most Reverend Joseph William Tobin, CSSR, and you know that title, as